Today we're talking about Pedigree comic books. I set out to find out if they're really more valuable than their non-Pedigree counterparts. And I'm just going to tell you right off the bat that yes, they absolutely are. So we're really going to be talking more about the degree in which they're more valuable. Now, the tricky thing about pedigrees is, let's remember what they are. They are typically owned by one owner or two, nicely preserved vintage, we're talking silver, golden age, and generally high grade, even very high grade. I believe there are currently 59 registered pedigree collections. Sometimes they're more obvious than others. Sometimes they have giveaways, like there's going to be a certain type of date stamp or name written on the cover that's going to be recognizable. Sometimes it's not so much. Now, I will say one thing, CGC, how they handle pedigrees is a beautiful gold label up at the top. The older slabs, which is a lot of what you're going to see here today, it's just the same blue, and they would put in the upper right-hand corner, they would just mention Susha News or whatever the pedigree was. This looks so much better. One of the great improvements at CGC. What made my research so difficult, though, is because they are such vintage, high-grade books, there's not that many books that are in those uber high grades. So it's been really difficult to compare. I did find a good amount of books here to show the data. A lot of those golden age stuff, it is the only 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, 9.8. There are no other ones, so you can't exactly compare it to something else, which unfortunately hurts the second question I was seeking, which was, are other pedigrees more collectible than others? Notably, the biggest one out there, most popular one, is the Edgar Church Mile High, which is an unbelievable collection of wildly high-grade Golden Age books. I can't really prove that Edgar Church is more valuable than Twin Cities or Green River. I just can't. But what I can tell you is the data that I did find, and you can do with it what you will. First things first, some good amount of research went into this, so please go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also consider joining. It's about the price of coffee, and it'll get you a bunch of exclusive membership perks as well as exclusive giveaways, which I'm going to be ramping up quite a bit in the upcoming months. So I did find some data, and as I said in the beginning of the video, yes, every single time there is a pedigree, it is just more valuable. It has been, it will continue to be, and as awareness of pedigree books goes up, you will see that be more the case in the future. I do have some examples. Strange Tales issue 205, first appearance of Deadman. In a 7.0 at the time of this sale, they were going for about $475, give or take. The Green River pedigree actually sold for $700, just a little bit less than half, which means it's almost double the price of the regular books at the time. Now, granted, a lot of this depends on the collector. A lot of it depends on the pedigree, even though I'm not able to say that one pedigree is more desirable than another. My data just couldn't prove it. My data really kind of shows that it's all just more valuable, but it's kind of random. Like you'll notice some of these other examples I'm going to give you aren't so drastic, but they always are more. Like this next one, Aquaman number 29, Big Apple pedigree. Ironically, I actually have a Big Apple of Aquaman 11 here. 9.2, the fair market value at the time of the sale was about $1,000. By the way, 29, I believe, is the first Ocean Master. You could correct me if I'm wrong. Well, the Big Apple pedigree sold for $1,200, so it's $200 more. Next up, another Aquaman book. While I'm at it, I kind of couldn't choose my examples too much. I had to go with books that I could actually compare it with. Aquaman 35, it's a Savannah pedigree. It's a 9.4. This was in 2019. It sold for $2,589, whereas the rest of them were selling for about $2,200, maybe $2,100, give or take. Again, we're talking like a difference of $200, $300. When you're already looking at the over 2,000 mark, some of those collectors don't mind spending an extra $200 to get a pedigree version. 9.4 Green Lantern number 40. First appearance of Krona and a couple other things. Western Pen, 2013 sale. This one's a big one. $2,151 compared to the $1,600 that that book would normally fetch around that time. So that's actually a difference of about $600. That's a pretty big deal. Someone was willing to shell out that much more. And it continues. ASM, Amazing Spider-Man, issue 97. I believe that's one of the non-Comics Code Authority drug issues. This is, and I might be mispronouncing this, Susha News. It's a 2011 sale. A lot of these Pedigree sales, by the way, are like 2010, 11, 12, 13. There's not a ton of them out there, and a lot of them people bought 10 years ago, and you haven't seen them recirculated because people don't want to sell them. Says something about pedigrees. 2011, like I said, the regular counterpart goes for about 2,000 bucks. The Susha News one sold for about 2,250. $250 difference there. Granted, part of that might have just been it was the only one available. It's tricky to say. Like I said, the data is so slim. I think it ties to the fact that it was a pedigree. I think that someone probably paid a premium. Showcase issue 55, Twin Cities, from a 2013 sale, 9.4. They sold for about $700 at that time. The Twin Cities pedigree sold for $788. It's just a little bit less than $100 more. So it looks like that's not as drastic as some of these other ones. But I have another Twin Cities one here, which is pretty noticeable. Tales of Suspense, 57, first Hawkeye, 9.6, hell of a grade. Twin City pedigree from 2011. Others were selling for like $6,500, $7,000 at that time. I'm pretty sure that's way higher now. And the Twin Cities pedigree sold for $7,768. That's a nice near $1,000 or over $1,000 difference right there. And last example I'm going to give you, I found a Curator Collection pedigree for 2012 sale of Fantastic Four issue 4, 9.6 too. Whew. And I'm going to put up pictures if I can find them for you. I don't think I'm going to be able to have pictures for all of them, but here you go. 2012 sale, sold for $44,813. 10 grand, 11 grand over all the comparable sales that came even after this point for the next couple sales. Everything else sold for about $34K. That went for 10 over. So maybe it's just that the Curator Collection is one of those Edgar Church Mile High, where that's another one of the super desirable ones. Honestly, no matter what pedigree you got going on, they're all more valuable. And this just shows it. I couldn't find a single example of a pedigree that slipped in the cracks that sold for way less than any of their other counterparts. In every example that I was able to find that there was comparable data, it always was in the pedigree favor. So most of you probably don't even have these in your collection. They're pretty rare to actually get verified that it is a pedigree. But if you got it, you might be able to do a little bit better. For example, my Aquaman 11, it's a 7.5. Just to give you a real-time example here. The fair market value for a 7.5 is right around 900 to about $1,000. Pedigree, Big Apple pedigree I got right here, probably would push that to at least 1,000, if not 1,050, 1,100 bucks. Kind of hard to say. This particular one I probably wouldn't sell, but never say never. I am unemployed now, so that could change. We'll see. Gorgeous book, though. Glad it's a pedigree. It's only one of 3 that I have. The other 2 are Green Lanterns. So, really happy about that book. And my conclusion for you all is, yes, they are more expensive. I am sorry I could not find the differences between other pedigrees. Just know that if you've got them, you've got a little extra premium going on. I'll keep the research going, though. If I do find good examples of Edgar Church versus other comparable data, I will update in the comments below on this video what I do find. But in the meantime, keep on hunting. And let's do a quick word from our sponsor, Dynamite Comics, which 30 years now Dynamic Forces has been going, and we're going to celebrate it with a massive savings plan. I'll put a link here, but basically, customers can save 95% off on well over 150 issues worth of critically acclaimed and fan favorite titles. Just for $18 to get everything, fans will be walking away with an awesome haul of over 5,000 pages to dig their teeth into. We're talking The Boys, Vampirella, Red Sonja, and Mars Attacks, Nancy Drew, Garbage Pail Kids, Barbarella, tons more. Dynamite's also including several of the latest hits that have barely just hit the shelves, such as Unbreakable Red Sonja, Vampirella Mind Warp, Scarlet Sisters, Lady Hell, and others. This is an incredible bundle on digital comics, but that's not all. Dynamite and Humble Bumble are working alongside World Central Kitchen to contribute a portion of the proceeds from the sales around the world. World Kitchen is a nonprofit organization that strives to provide meals to those in need in the wake of natural disasters and crises. You do not want to miss this 95% off, frankly, ridiculously awesome sale.